Hey, YouTube believers. Chris Mack coming at you with Wolverine #4. And I gotta say, guys, this issue very much feels like a step up from the prior issue, where it was just kind of felt like a throwaway thing. Like, characters felt, what do you call it, out of their own tone, I guess, is for a lack of a better word. But yeah, this one focuses on what this book should be, which is Wolverine. And this panel right here, check this out. I want to read this because this makes me so happy. So, if you didn't see the last issue, spoiler alerts moving forward, make sure to pause this review and go check out our last issue. Here we see Magneto's helmet falling, and you see off camera, suppose you'll be wanting this back. And we see it's Magneto's helmet. And what happened last issue is Logan got Magneto drunk at the little tiki bar or whatever and stole his helmet. And Magneto in that issue is like hamming it up and joking, and I'm like, this is very much out of character. And so, anyway, here Logan says, "We done? Or you got something else to say? If you ever so much as I got you drunk and stole your helmet. You once tore the adamantium skeleton, you once tore the adamantium off my skeleton. Call it square." I love that. Because Logan just does not give two poops and a fudge. You know what I mean? So, that's great stuff. And that's how Logan should be, bucking the authority of Krakoa. And that's one of the things that really works in this issue, is Logan kind of saying, I don't trust what's going on here. So, anyway, Magneto's saying we want you to do some investigations, and we need you to work with us instead of openly mock us. He says, Logan, please, this is about the collective responsibility. When you publicly mock our government, and when you insult and embarrass Magneto, wait for it, you endanger what we worked so hard to build. Then you're probably not going to like the fact I used his helmet as a piss bucket. That's how Logan is. He should know something's off and not to trust it. In the first issue, that's what he even said. He said, I don't trust the terrain here. So anyway, this book is called There Will Be Blood, because I guess they drank his milkshake. Ha ha ha. Benjamin Percy is the writer. Viktor Bogdanovic, if I get that wrong, forgive me, is the artist. Matthew Wilson is the color artist. VC's Corey Petit is doing the lettering, and Tom Mueller is the designer. Here's everybody else working on the book. And well, actually, this book is called The Red Tavern. The thing prior said There Will Be Blood, so, books, whatever. And more reading. I'm done with those explainer pages. I am so done. Now, Logan leaves Krakoa. He said he's planted his own little private seed so he can kind of go to his own hidey holes without getting away from Krakoa, because he said Krakoa's always watching. That just reminds me so much of 1984. I don't like how dictatorship this new Dawn of X books feel. So Logan being able to take off into the Canada. This is not Akira. This is not Canada. Lost my train of thought there. It's nice to see him go into the Canadian wilderness, and this is kind of how you start to feel how an original, old-school Wolverine book would be. Because he goes there, crap starts, as per usual, wherever Logan goes. And this book just feels like, when he comes in and puts money in the jukebox, it feels so apt that he plays a Hank Williams song, which is Whiskey Bent and Hellbound. Because that really does sum up the entirety of this book. Now, one thing I do kind of want to make a side anecdote here is Viktor Bogdanovic's artwork. I love it. I was introduced to him on The Silencer, which if you've not read DC's The Silencer, oh man, go pick it up. Amazing run. So it's a welcome sight to see it back in this book. Because, it has a little bit of like a Greg Capullo influence to it. If you kind of look at his face, it looks kind of like Bruce Wayne from the Scott Snyder Batman run. But this helps because this bar, you can tell these are not exactly the world's nicest people. And I like that the artist and the art team here really go out of their way to make these people look haggard and rough. And especially when we start to build up in this this horror feeling, you know, like this bar at the end of the world type feeling kind of, and you see all these folks inside, not exactly the friendliest bunch, and then juxtapose outside, if I'm using that word wrong. I haven't had enough coffee. We'll just use contrast to the outside. And we see this police officer seeing this deer and is absolutely mortified by what he is seeing. Now, again, I don't want to give this away because this is sort of what sets up what happens in the book. But stuff like this, like, welcome to the Mutant Trauma Support. You're safe, valued, important here. These reader explainers, it takes away from the tone, and it feels too, like, cutesy, especially like when they did the one with the X Factor. And I don't remember which one it was where Forge was talking about setting up the bar and all that stuff. It feels too cutesy, and for me personally, it's not welcomed. It just really kills the flow of the book. It takes away from that show, don't tell. And there's elements in this book that start to really feel like Saw with what happens with Logan, and you're just kind of like, holy moly. Now, as you're starting to think, God, this is getting to be a lot of talking, what I like here is it's going somewhere. It's building tension. And, where's the page I wanted to show you guys? Not there. It helps when we finally kind of start to get into the buildup of the book. Now, with that said, in terms of buildup of the book, is yes, this kind of feels like a filler issue because each issue, like there's a reviewer I was listening to, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he said each issue should feel like a jumping on point, so you're not completely lost. And that's why I do appreciate that they do kind of give you backstory at the beginning, but each time, like think about it. Not everybody's in their walk of life is going to be jumping on comics when they first come out. A lot of times it's through back issue hunting. That's how I got into comics, was back issue hunting, and some of them get so murky that you just want to give up. So each issue should really feel like a jumping on point. So this one, I don't know. I feel like down the road, if someone wanted to pick this book up, they just kind of like, there's a lot of reading. Nothing's really going anywhere till the end. And, yeah, the end. Whew. This should have been the beginning. This should have sucked you in. Like after everything went on with the Krakoa and Magneto, or Wolverine bucking Magneto, which was great. This is what should have drawn you in instead of a lot of reading. But because I've been reading this book since issue 4, it makes sense. But again, down the line, new fans, I don't think this issue by itself is going to stand up on its own. But with that out of the way, enjoying literature and pacing. Again, everyone locked in this bar in this snowstorm reminds me just kind of that again, bar at the end of the world, or haunted house, or locked case murder scenario type thing. Locked house murder mystery. Yeah, that thing. And yeah, and then you get to here and you're like, man, I want more. Which is good, because they always say leave you wanting more, which is great. But with that said, it's kind of like, do we really want to pay $4 for 3 pages of stuff that's kind of like, yeah, we're going to start seeing some stuff, man. So, again, take it as you will. I'd like to hear your thoughts. But there's a saying in here where it's kind of obvious who this dude is. But he says, you try to be part of the sunlight, but you and I were different because we can only tolerate so much sunlight. Darkness is our true nature. And it was just kind of like, whoa, because where they leave you hanging on this book, you cannot wait till issue 5. And I'm already biting at the bit of my seat to grab issue 5 and start reviewing it. So again, as I just said, I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts. down in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. It helps the club channel grow, and we really appreciate it. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little Wolverine bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys can come to the channel. And we love to have, dialogue with y'all. As I said just a moment ago, down in the comments or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. And if you've enjoyed this comic book, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if they have this in stock and pick yourself up a copy. And with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.